With today's technology, the dating world has changed drastically. More often than not, you hear about couples meeting their significant others through dating apps or even the internet, rather than chance encounters in public. I myself am guilty of trying to find love on the internet, and I've actually had some success stories through dating apps. Obviously not that successful because I'm still single. But but just like any other corner of the internet, there are dark intentions hiding behind the keyboard. Some people don't make dating profiles with the intent to find love. Sometimes they have darker intentions. With one swipe, your life could change forever. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Silent Screams, Fact or Fiction. I hope everybody is having a fantastic week. I hope everybody is feeling good, feeling great, feeling blessed. You feel me? Oh my gosh, you guys. Thank you everybody that supported me in my last video and actually watched the whole thing through. I appreciate and love all of you. This is a journey, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just going to keep getting better and better as time goes on. Thank you for the love and support. I'm in such a good mood, you guys. Thank you for being with me on this journey. Okay, I don't want to ramble too much, so let's just get into today's case. Really quick, I just want to say everything in this video is for entertainment purposes only. I am not an expert. Please go do your own research. Yeah. Sade Robinson was born May 10th, 2004 in Vicksburg, Mississippi. She then moved to Milwaukee, Wisconsin with her family at the age of 2. From what I could find, her parents, Sheena Scarborough and Carlos Robinson, raised her together through co-parenting. Sade lived with her mother majority of the time, but still maintained a close relationship with her father. Despite her father living in Florida, it is said that Sade maintained a close father-daughter relationship with him. Sade also had a sister. Sade was the oldest of the siblings. Her younger sister's name is Adriana Reams. From what I could find, it seems as though Adriana and Sade were super close. Adriana has stated that she really looked up to Sade, and Sade always did her best to protect her little sister. Adriana spoke out about how Sade would stick up for her when she couldn't stick up for herself. It seems as though Sade was the best big sister. From a young age, Sade was described as radiant and a kind soul. Her mom described her as a light worker. For all my spiritual people, you know what she's talking about. Sade just had this thing about her where she could just get along with any and everybody. Despite the hardships Sade endured as a child, she maintained positivity and optimism. She grew up to be goal-oriented and always strived to be the best version of herself. Sade graduated high school early and went off to pursue a degree in criminal justice at Milwaukee Area Technical College, MATC. You feel me? Nah, but shout out to my educated black women. Y'all out here doing your big one. Why is it jungle? Not only was Sade pursuing her education, she was working 2 jobs. Not only was she working 2 jobs, she was maintaining a 3.5 GPA. Do you hear me? Working 2 jobs, going to school, and maintaining a 3.5 GPA. What? Put some fucking respect on Sade's name, okay? That alone really speaks to Sade's character. One of Sade's jobs was working at a restaurant called Pizza Shuttle in Milwaukee. Now, I tried to find details about Sade's second job, but it wasn't publicized where her second job was, but they did emphasize that she did maintain her work life and school life, with plans to enlist in the U.S. Air Force after graduation. Between Sade's hard work and dedication, she always managed to make time for friends, family, and the simple joys of life. And just like any other young adult, Sade was in search of companionship, which I believe led her to the world of dating apps. In my own opinion, I believe that with her busy schedule, it was probably hard for her to meet people in person or through surprise encounters. So the alternative in today's age is dating apps. And just like most things, dating apps comes with risks. You don't really know who's hiding behind the keyboard and the masked pictures that they post on their profile. I'm sure after hours of swiping left, 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 right, left, 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 right, left, 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 right, eventually Sade connected with someone and agreed to go on a date. This decision to go on a date with this man would change a lot of lives forever. On April 1st, 2024, Sade Robinson got up to get ready for work like any other day. She left her house at about 9 a.m. and made her way to the pizza shuttle for her shift. Now, I couldn't get an exact time of when she arrived at Pizza Shuttle and when she left, but she did do a shift on April 1st before going out on her date with the person she met on the dating app. At some point, text messages were exchanged between Sade Robinson and a man named Maxwell Anderson. They were speaking about what they were going to do that night. In the text messages, they agreed to meet up at Twisted Fisherman's, a seafood restaurant in Milwaukee, for their first date. Now, this is something that really breaks my heart when I think about it. I just picture Sade getting ready for this date, being so excited, you know, taking the time to pick out her outfit, doing her makeup, talking to her girlfriends about it, how excited she is to go out and have a good time. It breaks my heart to think about how excited she was, not knowing what she was walking into. Now, Sade Robinson ended up meeting up with Maxwell at 5:20 p.m. that night at Twisted Fisherman. They ate food, they drank some drinks, and then made their way to another spot called Duke's on the Water at around 6:45 p.m. I'm sorry, 6:24 p.m. When Sade got to Duke's on the Water with Maxwell, she did send a Snapchat to one of her friends. I couldn't get the information on what was in the Snapchat, but I assume she was probably showing her the date or telling her how things were going. And unfortunately, this is the last time anyone heard from Sade. On April 2nd, 2024, which is the next day after the date, Sade Robinson was due to show up at Pizza Shuttle for her shift. When she didn't show, it raised huge red flags for everyone because Sade always made it to her shifts. Her manager messaged Sade to see if everything was okay and if she was going to be coming in, but got no response. This absence and lack of communication was totally out of character for Sade. With growing concern, the manager at Pizza Shuttle decided to go to the police and request a welfare check on Sade. The manager told police it was unlike Sade not to communicate and was worried that something may be wrong. After receiving this information, Milwaukee police did go to Sade's apartment to perform a welfare check, but were unable to find her. After they were unable to find Sade at her apartment, they decided to gather information, trying to figure out what her last steps were. They did this by gathering surveillance footage, license plate recognition data, and cell phone records. They checked Sade's location by pulling cell phone records and also checking her Life 360 app. This information revealed that Sade was at Twisted Fisherman and Duke's on the Water the night before. Not only did this information confirm where she last was, her friends also told the police that they knew that she would be at Twisted Fisherman's for a date. That same day, on April 2nd at 7:30 a.m., firefighters and police responded to a car fire near 30th and Lisbon Avenue. The car was badly burned, but was able to be identified and was unfortunately identified as Sade Robinson's car. Now, whoever did this was dumb as hell, heavy on the dumb, because there were surveillance cameras where this fire occurred. So when police checked surveillance videos, they did see a man leaving the scene and boarding a bus nearby. Now, at this time, the man was unidentified. In the trunk of Sade Robinson's burnt Honda Civic, investigators found pants and underwear that were fire damaged, as well as a teddy bear that was soaked in accelerant. There were also a pair of shoes found in the vehicle. Crime lab testing confirmed that accelerant was found on the trunk, as well as carpeting inside of the trunk and the items inside. Later on, experts would speak out about accelerant being poured all over the vehicle to maximize the destruction of evidence. After police investigated the surveillance at Twisted Fisherman and spoke with workers there, they did confirm the identity of the man that Sade was with as being Maxwell Robinson. That same day, a person walking on the beach in Wanamont Park in Cudahy discovered a severed leg. This severed leg had pink nail polish on it, a detail matching Sade's appearance in the previous night. This horrific discovery shifted the case from a missing persons investigation to a homicide and dismemberment case. Something that I love most about this case is that police actually did their fucking job. Okay? They were on it. Police had their first primary suspect within the first 10 hours of Sade being reported missing, which is very rare. Unfortunately, some cases aren't taken as seriously as Sade's was, and I'm just so grateful that police were on it. They were on it. They had everything, almost everything they needed for this case within the first 24 hours, which is beautiful, beautiful. Of course, we wish that this never happened, period, but that's something I really do like about this case, is that police were on it and they were determined to get justice for Sade, as was her family. Between Sade's car being found and the human remains being found at the beach, police were pushed into overdrive to find out what happened to Sade Robinson. On April 4th, 2024, at approximately 1:15 p.m., police conducted a traffic stop near 38th Street and Lukefield Drive. The man that they pulled over was Maxwell Anderson. Luckily for police, Maxwell Anderson had a warrant. He had a warrant for being a felon with the possession of a firearm. Maxwell was then arrested and taken into custody. Now, police used this as a tactic to hold Maxwell as they continued to get more information on Sade Robinson's case. After Maxwell was taken into custody on April 5th, 2024, additional remains were found. The remains were found near 30th and Libsyn Avenue in Milwaukee, just blocks from where Sade's car was torched. As the days continued, more remains were found. On the 6th and 7th of April, remains were found in the same location, as well as a blanket of Sade's. 8 days after Sade was reported missing and the remains were found, Maxwell Anderson was officially charged on April 12th with Sade's murder. He was charged with first-degree intentional homicide, manipulating a corpse, arson, and hiding a corpse. Once again, I just want to highlight that police moved very quickly in this case. They had their suspect within the first 8 days of Sade going missing. I just mean, Milwaukee police, you got it. You got it. You got this one. A rare moment. I want to give praise to the police because they did their big one. They really did their big one. Now, after everything is said and done, of course, this dirtbag would not admit to what he did to Sade. He drug it out, maintained his innocence, and wanted to go to court. Can I just say that this just really shows how evil this man is? Not only did he take Sade from her family and friends and community, but he wanted to drag them through a trial and just re-traumatize each person when it came to the loss of Sade. He had no regard for anybody when it came to anything. This man is cold and still to this day tries to maintain his innocence, which really pisses me the fuck off. But let me calm down. Let me tell you what happened during this trial. So the trial began this year, actually, in June of 2025. This was a jury trial, so they had victim statements from everybody. They had both sides pleading their case. I'm going to give you guys a shortened version of what happened. The prosecutors built their case by using a bunch of evidence. They had so much evidence against this man, it's not even funny. So they used cell phone records, surveillance videos, photographs from Anderson's phone that showed him touching Sade in a It showed Sade laying on his couch with him touching Sade in a compromising position, which they later tried to rebuttal by saying that Sade was obviously sleeping or drunk, not deceased in this picture, but be so fucking for real. They also showed a detailed timeline of what happened the day that Sade went missing. They used cell phone towers to pinpoint and show like the activity that happened, as well as surveillance videos. The timeline also showed how Anderson dismembered Sade, spread her remains around Milwaukee, and what led him to burn the car. They also had witnesses on the stand that confirmed that Anderson was the person with Sade at Twisted Fisherman's. At trial, Maxwell Anderson admitted to meeting up with Sade Robinson. He did not deny that, but he claimed that she left his place alive, which we all know is fucking bullshit. His defense attacked the prosecution's timeline and deemed it as circumstantial. They argue that surveillance footage was not clear enough for Maxwell to be identified. They also brought up that they had no proof of when and how Sade did pass away. Bringing it right back to when I said they tried to downplay the picture that they found in his phone, they tried to downplay it and say Sade wasn't deceased. She was obviously sleeping or drunk or whatever the case may be. During the trial, they also tried to bring up this bullshit. In Sade Robinson's apartment, they found a safe that had pills and THC in it. Now, they tried to use this defense because those things were found in her apartment, that she was obviously involved in some kind of drug activity, and tried to make it seem like somebody else could have ended her life for the simple fact of drug use or drug dealing. Bullshit. Alright, y'all, on June 6th, 2025, after a short deliberation, the jury found this Beavis and Butthead looking ass motherfucker guilty of all charges. Won't the system do it? Not always, but they did it this time. Let me just say that this man being found guilty of all these charges and getting sentenced will never, ever compare to what he did to Sade. The life that he is going to experience in prison will never amount to what he did to Sade, period. He deserves way worse than what he's going to endure in that prison cell, and trust me, he's going to get it one way or another. Really quick, I wanted to insert some videos, you guys. This first one is going to be the verdict from the jury.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Maxwell Anderson, guilty of first-degree intentional homicide as charged in count 1 of the information. As to count 2, we, the jury, find the defendant, Maxwell Anderson, guilty of mutilating a corpse as charged in count 2 of the information. As to count 3, we, the jury, find the defendant, Maxwell Anderson, guilty of arson of property other than a building as charged in count 3 of the information. As to count 4, we, the jury, find the defendant, Maxwell Anderson, guilty of hiding a corpse as charged in count 4 of the information.
There's something in this story we cannot forget, and it's the lives that Sade left behind. Sade touched so many people, but I just want to show you guys some of the victim statements from her family. The first one is going to be from Sade's sister, the second one from her father, and the third one from her mother. There will also be links below if you guys want to watch the full videos.
A couple of months ago, one of Sade's old teachers gave me a letter that she wrote to me for a school assignment when she was 15. She talked about some of her hardships, and she had so many, which is why it is especially hard to know that as soon as her hard work allowed her to escape many of them, her life was stolen. She said that she wants to be my role model and show me that anything is possible, that she wants to guide me through everything and be my support system. She said that even 5 years ago, she wanted to inspire me to be as independent as she was, and that she hopes she inspires me to do what I want to do in life. She said that everything she does is for me, and she will do anything for me. Even in her 19 years, she was still incredibly hardworking, independent, kind, supportive, selfless, resilient, and special. She continues to inspire me for the fighter that she was, but he took the guide and support system and role model that she was going to be for the rest of my life. He stole my big sister that always protected me and nurtured me and put me first, And he robbed her of her ability to do that and feel accomplished because she knew she was setting me up for a life better than the one she was forced to struggle through. He made it to where I cannot read that letter that I should have always cherished and smiled about without crying, because now it is just a reminder of everything I no longer have. All she wanted was to be cared for and praised and appreciated, the way she had always done for everyone else, and he instead took her ability to do anything. She was the definition of a fighter, the definition of resilience. She never laid down or backed down, and to know that he took all her power away and stole her ability to fight for herself is the worst thing imaginable. There is nothing that can justify what he did to her, and what he did was much more than just murder or dismember her. He erased her independence, her ability to fight for herself. He tried to erase her existence and her value. Now I no longer have the opportunity to try and give her everything she gave me. I cannot show her how proud of her I am or how much I looked up to her. But much worse than me, she can no longer make herself proud or make herself anything. And the only one who took that from her is the man sitting right there. I beg you to not let this man have any type of parole. You heard his ex-girlfriend describe the psychological abuse and self-harm he tried to impose on her. His behavior is clearly a pattern, and there is no way that after he has demonstrated the extent of what he is willing to do to a person so casually, he should ever walk these streets again. He still refuses to even admit what he did, and the jury and the public did not even have to be there to unanimously know what he did. He is clearly a danger to the public and should never be given another chance to cause anyone such tremendous harm the way he has done to my family. These law enforcement officers and prosecutors worked countless days working to find the truth. You, us, and the jury sat here for 2 weeks hearing all the heinous things he committed. Do not let any of that go to waste. Do not let the loss of Sade go to waste. This man should never walk free again. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Reams. You spoke well on behalf of your sister.
My name is Carlos Robinson. What he has done is inconceivable. And to know that there's a chance I might not even have her completely to be able to put her at peace brings me night terrors and constant mental chaos. He has she had so much life left to live, so many goals that was taken from her. And to me, it's not just that she's not here, it's the way that she's not here. I can't wrap my mind around it. Somebody that does something like this doesn't even deserve. I think death is a way out. You deserve what you get. He deserves the punishment that he gave to my daughter. Everything that he did should be done to him. That's how I feel. To me, that's justice.
My daughter referred to you as a man. You will never be a fucking man. You're a pussy-ass bitch.
Ms. Scarborough, if you could direct your comments to me, please.
Yes, Your Honor. First off, Your Honor, I would like to thank you and the entire team for what we all had to endure, which was it was freaking torture to even have to be dragged through what we were dragged through. My daughter was everything. She was everything to all of us. As my baby explained, she had a different impact in each and every one of our lives. There's so many strangers and individuals in the community that I have engaged and met that she has touched and impacted. This has affected the world, the community in such extreme ways There's no way in hell we should have even ever went through this freaking trial that you drug us through. You knew you were guilty. You can no longer hurt my baby. She's in heaven. She's protected. We roll deep. My ancestors roll deep. When you touch my daughter, you fuck with the wrong family. We ain't no pussy bitches, and you should have never touched my daughter. It's a done deal. Sade's justice is just now beginning, and you and all of your family will eternally pay for what you did to us.
Thank you, Ms. Scarborough.
Out of all the victim statements that were done by her family, I think the ones that really touched me the most were the one by her sister and then the one by her mother. The one by her sister had me in tears, you guys. Like, I really, you know, being an empath too, I could just feel the sadness and, oh man, I just couldn't, I couldn't imagine. And then hearing her mom, who kind of cracked me up during her victim statement because she didn't care. She was cussing at him, calling him a pussy and all sorts of stuff. Because I feel that, how can you keep your composure with your daughter's murderer right there? You can really see how much Sade touched other people's lives, and it's just unfortunate that this is how her story ends. But it doesn't necessarily end. I feel like with Sade's story, it will protect other young women from experiencing something similar to this. It will wake women up to be more cautious when it comes to online dating. Not just women, everybody needs to be more cautious when it comes to online dating. Now, I do want to show the judge's final verdict. I'm going to insert that now.
And you never get that. You know, to hear about her, she was an innocent victim. You know, she was a girl that I would hope all young ladies strive to be. You know, to hear about working 2 jobs to reach her goals, to be going on for schooling and further education, but then to hear about how much she was loved in the community by almost everyone that touched her. You know, it was interesting to go through the letters because I got the letters that were from who I expected, you know, the mother, the father, the sister, the loved ones. I also got a letter from the real estate agent that worked with Ms. Scarborough. I got a letter from citizens. And I can't tell you, I really debated whether or not I would share this, but there was a letter from a citizen that doesn't know Ms. Robinson, never met her. And this is what he said, or she said, I don't know. The person signed it as Stargazer. In pertinent part, it says, Sade Robinson was not a torso. She was not evidence. She was a full, living, radiant human being. She had dreams, plans, and a future she was building with pride. She had people who loved her and that still love her, more than words can hold. And she had a right to live, to breathe, to laugh, to grow old. That right was stolen in a way so vile, so deliberate, that it tears at the fabric of what we call humanity. You, Maxwell Anderson, didn't just kill her. You carved her, and you discarded her like garbage. And you tried to erase her body from this earth piece by piece. And for what? Not even you had the courage to say. You sat there in court as if you were a man. You didn't snap, you planned. You didn't panic, you dismembered. And still you offer no answers, no remorse, no ounce of dignity that you stripped from her. But here's what you couldn't take. You could not mutilate her soul. You could not silence the scream of justice. You could not prevent an entire community from rising up in Sade's name. We know who she was. We know what she could have become, and we will not let your darkness define her. To the family, there are no words that can hold the weight of your pain, but I need you to know we see you. We mourn with you. We love you. You have the right to tears. You have the right to rage, You have the right to every ounce of justice this system can give. May you feel her arms in the wind. May you hear her laughter in your memories. May you know that she did not die forgotten, she died loved, and we will remember her always. Maxwell Anderson, you are not the center of this story. She is, and she will always be. Sade Robinson lives on in light, in truth, and in love, and you will be remembered only as a man who tried to destroy something beautiful, but failed. You know, I thought that was beautiful. And I think that it shows the impact that this had on the community. You know, that took time and effort and thought, and I think it put together a lot of what the community felt. So going back to what I need to look at. In formulating a proper sentence, I need to look at the character of the defendant. I need to look at the severity of the offense. You know, to take away a child is horrific. You know, you wouldn't wish that on anybody. To have a child not outlive the parents is a horrible thing. But not only did you extinguish her life, but you hid it, and you hid her body to be found. And I can only imagine every time a news report, every time something clicked that another body part was found, how it had to just re-victimize this family, how it had to just be like another shot to their soul. I can't imagine how horrific that had to be. And yet, I wonder which was worse, the not knowing in those first days where she was. You know, I can't even think of a word, horrific. It's beyond imaginable for a parent to think of not being able to know if your children are dead or alive, and then to learn that they were dismembered and disgraced to the extent that this poor girl, her body endured, is beyond understanding. So the severity of the offense, I'll agree. It's definitely at the top of some of the worst homicides I've seen in this court. Looking at the impact on the community, I read that letter because I thought it stated to a great extent what we're here about. You know, what my job is to do, it is to hold you accountable and to punish you. It is also to protect society. And that's about how do we figure out if at some point you're redeemable? How do we figure out if at some point you will change your mindset? You will get the therapy and education to be at a point where you will be safe to have in the community. Now, part of that goes into the fact that you don't take responsibility. You know, I listened to the evidence. I watched what was introduced during the course of the trial. There is no explanation that I've heard that's valid as to why you would be walking away from that burning car. You know, those photos were not of a girl in a video enjoying life. Those photos of you grasping the breast that was ultimately shaved from her body, with her face plastered into that, I don't recall if it was the ottoman of the couch, the way that her body was positioned, there's no explanation for that. I don't need to rehash the evidence. I've gone through all my notes from this trial, and I think that Attorney Vance Cruzan did a nice job of summarizing in pertinent part the details. But there's no answer that you briefly provided in this pre-sentence that makes even a hint, that even resonates with a hint of truth. So how do we protect society from a man who clearly has had darkness in his past, who engaged in behavior that is, it's the facts that you see written in horror novels. That's what we have to determine. And you know, it isn't easy. I can tell you that when you think about, is there ever something redeemable in a person? You'd like to say at some point there is. And I can tell you that at the points in life where I've come to the conclusion that there isn't anything redeemable, you do think about, I think it takes away a little piece of my soul. How come I couldn't find anything good? How come I can't find anything that I can say at some point you'll be a better person? So ultimately at sentencing, considering the seriousness of the offense, your character, and the needs of society. This is clearly not a probation case. Probation would unduly depreciate the seriousness of the offense and isn't even allowable under our law. You are sentenced to a term of life imprisonment, and that is what the penalty is for a jury of your peers ultimately coming back and convicting you on first-degree intentional.
This judge, you guys, oh my gosh, I'm so thankful that Sade's family got a judge like her. You can just tell that she's really passionate about what she does, and she was not giving that man any grace. She saw through all the bullshit letters that his family wrote in, all these people trying to say that he's such a good person, even though the facts show he's not. Love everything about it. She did speak more about the case. If you guys, I'm gonna link everything down below, so if you guys are interested, please go watch it. It was bittersweet to watch everything play out in court. Even though Maxwell Anderson was sentenced to life in prison without parole on August 1st, he still maintains his stupid ass innocence. On August 5th, 2025, Maxwell Anderson filed a formal notice with the intent to pursue post-conviction relief, which is basically he appealed his stupid ass case. Which, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? What the fuck? So he got rid of his old representation and asked to be represented by a public defender in the near future. Let me just read off real quick for you guys. I'm gonna read off what could help him appeal his case. So one thing that could help him is ineffective assistance of counsel. Did Anderson's legal representation inadequately help him? No. They didn't. They did their job. They had no case. The second one is prosecutorial misconduct. Did the prosecutors withhold evidence or otherwise act inappropriately? No, they fucking didn't. They acted very appropriately. The third one is judicial error. Did the trial judge make a ruling that violated Anderson's rights? No, she didn't. She fucking didn't. No. The fourth one is newly discovered evidence. Is there evidence that was unknown during the trial that could have affected the verdict? No. That man is guilty. Please. Okay, guys. This case was heavy. The last case I did was heavy in different ways, but this one was really heavy for me. It was really heavy for me, and it was really sad. Just watching all the videos and hearing about Sade and how inspirational she was to people. Gosh, you guys, I just fucking hate people, you know what I'm saying? I just don't like people. I hope Maxwell Anderson gets everything that's coming to him. I hope he suffers a terrible time in prison, and I hope he suffers even after he's no longer with us. I hope that if his case does get appealed, they still will not let that man out of prison. He doesn't deserve to be walking around at all, in my personal, unprofessional opinion. Really quick, I just wanted to add this in here. I don't know how factual it is, but there was rumors. It is a fact. Maxwell Anderson's dad sold his house, the one that Sade was at the time of the crime. And it is said that he sold the house in order to hide evidence and help his son. It was not confirmed, and people do deny that his dad did it with the intent to help his son. But, I mean, there's no coincidence that he sold it right after his son was arrested. Like, come on now. And police said it didn't affect the investigation, but I really think that there was something fishy behind that. So I had to mention it. I didn't go into depth about Maxwell Anderson's background just because screw him. But if you guys want to know more about him, I would definitely look it up. He did have prior convictions, or not convictions, but he did have a prior record that you might want to look into if you're curious. He also had a girlfriend that spoke out about her relationship with him. I didn't put that in this video because I kind of rushed it a little bit, you guys. I'm gonna get it together so my videos aren't rushed. Thank you everybody for tuning in. That concludes this episode of Silent Screams Fact or Fiction. I think I'm gonna switch it up with the next video I post, but I'm not sure yet. So stay tuned for that next week. I love and appreciate you guys so much. I hope you have a good day. We made it. The sun is out. Okay, drink some water. Throw some bows, or meditate. Go do something that makes you happy. I'm rambling. All right, y'all. Bye.